Hello students, this is Swati Agrawal. Today we are going to start a new chapter, that is chapter number 5, periodic classification of elements. So students, under this chapter we are going to discuss various earlier attempts which are used for the classification of the elements. Then after that we are going to discuss about the Mendeleev's periodic law and the periodic table. And in the last we are going to discuss the modern periodic law and the periodic table. So students, in the earlier classes we have already studied that matter around us is present in the form of the elements, compounds and the mixtures, and each element is made up of one kind of the atoms. But do you know that earlier only 30 elements were known? As the time passed, then it increases up to the 63, and now at present we know around the 118 elements. So students, as more and more elements were being discovered, scientists gathered more and more information about their properties. So it became difficult to study and remember the properties of each element. So to overcome this problem, scientists started looking for some pattern in their properties on the basis of which they can classify all the known elements to make their study easier. So this necessity lead to the classification of elements. Okay students, now in the year 1817, Johann Wolfgang Dobereiner, a German chemist, tried to arrange the elements with similar properties into the groups. So students, what did he do? He identified certain groups of the three elements, as you can see in the table. So these groups of three elements having the similar properties were called the Dobereiner's triad after his name. He further observed that when three elements of any particular triad were arranged in order of their increasing atomic masses, the atomic mass of the middle element was roughly the mean or the average of the atomic masses of the other two elements. For example, as you can see in the table that the atomic mass of the lithium is the 6.9, atomic mass of the sodium is 23, and the atomic mass of the potassium is 39. So when we add the atomic masses of the lithium and the potassium and we find out the average of these two masses, the average comes equal to the atomic mass of the sodium, that is the middle elements. So this is called as the Dobereiner's triad. But there are few limitations of the Dobereiner. Dobereiner could only identify only these three triads from the elements. All the elements could not be identified. So, in other words, all the elements known in that time could not be arranged as the Dobereiner's triad. For example, the three elements like the nitrogen, phosphorus and the arsenic, they have the similar properties. Therefore, they can be regarded to form a triad. But however, when the actual atomic mass of the middle element, that is the phosphorus, is much lower than the average mass of the atomic mass of the nitrogen and arsenic. So thus these three elements do not constitute a Dobereiner's triad in spite of their similar chemical properties. So this system of the classification of the elements into triads could not be applied to all the elements known at that time, and hence this was rejected. So students, the attempts of the Dobereiner encouraged the other chemists also to correlate the properties of the elements with their atomic masses. So in the year 1866, John Newlands, an English scientist, arranged the then known elements in the order of the increasing atomic masses. He started with the element having the lowest atomic mass, that is the hydrogen, and ended at the thorium, which was the 56th element. He founded that every eighth element had properties similar to that of the first. He compared this to the octaves found in the music. Therefore, he called it as the law of octaves. It is also known as the Newland's law of octaves. In Newland's octaves, the properties of the lithium and the sodium were found to be the same. Sodium is the eighth element after the lithium. Similarly, beryllium and the magnesium resemble each other. So students, you can see a part of the original form of the Newland's octaves in the table, in the slide. Now, there were various limitations also of the law of octaves. It was found that the law of octaves were applicable only up to the calcium, as after the calcium, every eighth element did not possess the properties similar to that of the first. It was assumed by Newlands that only 56 elements existed in the nature and no more elements would be discovered in the future. But later on, several new elements were discovered whose properties do not fit into the law of octaves. So, Newland's law of octaves worked well with the lighter elements only. So students, even after the rejection of Newland's law of octaves, many scientists continued to search for a pattern that correlated the properties of elements with their atomic masses. The main credit for classifying the elements goes to Dmitry Ivanovich Mendeleev, a Russian chemist. He was the most important contributor to the early development of a periodic table of elements, wherein the elements were arranged on the basis of their fundamental property, the atomic mass, and also on the similarity of the chemical properties. So students, according to the Mendeleev's periodic law, when the elements are arranged in order of their increasing atomic masses, elements with the similar properties are repeated after certain regular intervals. This repetition of properties of elements after certain regular intervals is called the periodicity of properties. So students, can you see that Mendeleev's periodic table in the slide? In this, only the 63 elements were known at that time when the Mendeleev introduced this table. He arranged these elements in the increasing order of their atomic masses in horizontal rows. Now they are called as the periods, in such a way that elements with the similar properties fell under the same vertical columns, which is called as the groups. So students, moving on, now let us discuss the achievements and the limitation of the Mendeleev's periodic table. While developing the periodic table, there were a few instances where the Mendeleev had to place an element with a slightly greater atomic mass before an element with a slightly lower atomic mass. The sequence was inverted so that the elements with the similar properties could be grouped together. Further, Mendeleev left some gaps in his periodic table. Instead of looking upon these gaps as defects, Mendeleev boldly predicted the existence of some elements that had not been discovered at that time. For instance, scandium, gallium, and the germanium discovered later. Moving on, further, it was the extraordinary success of the Mendeleev's prediction that led the chemist not only to accept his periodic table but also recognize him as the originator of the concept on which it is based. Noble gases like the helium, neon, and argon have been mentioned in many a context before this. These gases were discovered very late. because they are very inert and present in extremely low concentrations in our atmosphere. One of the strengths of the Mendeleev's periodic table was that when these gases were discovered, they could be placed in a new group without disturbing the existing order, and that group was known as the zero group. Now there are few limitations also of the Mendeleev's classification. First is this, that there was no fixed position can be given to the hydrogen in the periodic table. This was the first limitation of the Mendeleev's periodic table. He cannot assign a correct position to hydrogen in his table. Why so? Because the electronic configuration of hydrogen resembles that of the alkali metals. Like alkali metals, hydrogen combines with the halogens, oxygen and sulfur to form the compounds having the similar formula. On the other hand, just like the halogens, hydrogen also exists as the diatomic molecules. Diatomic molecules, that means the H2, and it combines with the metals and the non-metals to form the covalent compounds. Next limitation of the Mendeleev's classification is that isotopes were discovered long after the Mendeleev had proposed his periodic classification of elements. So thus, isotopes of all elements posed a challenge to Mendeleev's periodic law. Another problem was that the atomic masses do not increase in a regular manner in going from one element to the next. So it was not possible to predict how many elements could be discovered between the two elements, especially when we consider the heavier elements. So students, so far we have discussed in the previous slide about the Mendeleev's periodic law and the periodic table. So students, the three major limitations of the Mendeleev's periodic table were that it could not explain are the position of the isotopes, anomalous position of some pair of elements, and the uncertainty in the prediction of the new elements. So students, this gives us a feeling that probably atomic mass is not the correct basis for the classification of the elements. Therefore, scientists thought that there must be some other more fundamental property of the elements which can better explain the periodicity in the properties of the elements. So, in 1913, Henry Moseley showed that the atomic number of an element is a more fundamental property than its atomic mass as described. Accordingly, Mendeleev's periodic law was modified and the atomic number was adopted as the basis of the modern periodic table. And the modern periodic law can be stated as follows: properties of elements are a periodic function of their atomic number. Students, moving on, in this slide you can see the modern periodic table or the long form of the periodic table. So in the modern periodic table or in the long form of the periodic table, the elements are arranged in the increasing order of their atomic numbers. Modern periodic table, as you can see, it consists of the 18 vertical columns called the groups and the 7 horizontal rows known as the periods. These groups are numbered from 1 to 18 and the periods are numbered from 1 to 7. Elements of group 1 and 2 on the left and the groups 13 to 18 on the right are called as the normal or the representative elements. The elements of groups 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12 are called as the transition elements because their properties lie in between the properties of the elements of the group 1 and 2 on the left hand side and those of the groups 13 to 18 on the right hand side of the periodic table. There are in all the 40 transition elements in the periodic table. In the long form of the periodic table, you can see that the elements have been broadly divided into metals and the non-metals by the thick zigzag line running diagonally across the periodic table, as you can see in the picture. Those elements which lie on the left hand side of this line are known as the metals, and those which lie on the right hand side of this line are known as the non-metals. However, the elements like the silicon, arsenic, etc., which lie along the border of the line, they show the properties of both metals and the non-metals. So these elements are known as the semi-elements or the metalloids. The number of the elements in any period is fixed by the maximum number of the electrons that can be accommodated in that particular shell. So students, we have already discussed in the previous classes that the atomic number is equal to the number of the protons in the nucleus. That is why the atomic number is also called as the proton number. Atomic number is the number of the electrons in the extranuclear part of the atom. These electrons are arranged in the different energy levels or the shells. This arrangement of the electrons in the different energy shells is known as the electronic configuration of the atom. So students, the atomic number is always a whole number and never fractional. It increases regularly by 1 from one element to the next, but atomic mass does not vary regularly from one element to the next. Therefore, atomic number of every element is fixed and no two elements can have the same atomic number. So according to the modern periodic law, we have already discussed in the previous slide that the atomic number is a more fundamental property of elements than the atomic mass. So atomic number was adopted as the basis of the classification of elements in the modern periodic table. Accordingly, Mendel's periodic law was modified to the modern periodic law, which states that the properties of the elements are a periodic function of their atomic numbers. This means that when the elements are arranged in the increasing order of their atomic numbers, the properties of the elements are repeated after certain regular intervals. As stated earlier, this repetition of the properties of the elements after certain regular intervals is called as the periodicity in the properties. So students, moving on, all the elements in any group of the periodic table have the identical outer shell or the valence shell electronic configuration. However, the number of the filled shells increases as we move down the group. For example, let us consider the electronic configuration of the elements of the group 1. All these elements have one electron in the valence shell, but the number of the filled shells increases as we move down. Since the properties of any elements depend upon its valence shell electronic configuration, therefore all the elements in a particular group have the similar properties because they have the identical valence shell electronic configuration. Now move to the periods. If we see or if we move from left to right in the second period, that is from the lithium to the neon, the number of the valence electrons increases by 1 unit as the atomic number increases by 1 unit from 3 to 10. However, the number of the shells containing the electrons remains to be the same. In other words, atoms of the different elements with the same number of the occupied shells are placed in the same period. For example, let us take the another example, that is the from sodium to the argon, which belongs to the third period of the modern periodic table. Since the electrons in the atoms of these elements are present in the 3 shells, that is in K, L and M shells. So students, each period starts with the filling of the electrons in a new electronic shell. For example, in the second period, L shell is being filled. In the third period, M shell is being filled. In the fourth period, N shell is being filled, and so on. Now students, moving on, let us discuss about the trends in the modern periodic table. The first trend is the valency. As we already discussed that the valency of an element is determined by the number of the valence electrons present in the outermost shell of its atom. So in the modern periodic table, on moving from left to right in each period, the valency of the elements increases from 1 to 4 and then gradually decreases to the 0. However, the valency remains the same down in a group. Now let us come to the atomic size. Atomic size refers to the radius of an atom. It may be visualized as the distance between the center of the nucleus and the outermost shell. The atomic size or the radius of an atom decreases as we move from left to right in a period because due to the large positive charge on the nucleus, the electrons are pulled in more close to the nucleus and the size decreases. Atomic size increases as we move down the group because new shells are being added, as we discussed in the previous slide that the new shells are being added and this increases the distance between the nucleus and the outermost electron. Now students, moving on, let us discuss the metallic properties in the modern periodic table. Metals tend to lose the electrons while forming the bonds, that is, they are electropositive in the nature. As the effective nuclear charge acting on the valence shell electrons increases across a period, the tendency to lose electrons will decrease. Down the group, the effective nuclear charge experienced by the valence electrons is decreasing because the outermost electrons are further away from the nucleus. Therefore, these can be lost easily. Hence, the metallic character decreases across a period and increases down the group. Now students, non-metals on the other hand are the electronegative. They tend to form the bonds by gaining the electrons. As the trends in the electronegativity show, non-metals are found on the right hand side of the periodic table towards the top. These trends are also help us to predict the nature of the oxides formed by the elements because it is known to you that the oxides of the metals are basic and that of the non-metals are acidic in general. Non-metallic character increases across a period because due to the increase in the effective nuclear charge, that means tendency to gain electron increases. Non-metallic character decreases as we move down a group due to the decrease in the effective nuclear charge experienced by the valence electrons. Thus, the tendency to gain electron decreases. In the middle of the periodic table, we have the semi-metals or the metalloid because they exhibit some properties of the metals and the non-metals as well.